Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Welcome back to another video. This one is a little bit different to what I have done in the past. Today I actually wanted to go through one of my decks with you, and specifically I want to go through my Airfire Interrogator aggro deck, which I have been playing a lot recently and been having a lot of fun with. So I basically just want to go through the strategy and the build and the individual cards with you as a bit of a deck tech guide to Interrogator. This is probably my most optimized deck. There's still a few cards I need to get, but overall the deck is probably like 95% built, and it's just a really fun deck to run. So without further ado, let's get into it, I suppose. This is a little bit different to the videos I have made previously because it's just a live recording, a bit more freestyle from me. So if you guys enjoy this type of content and want to see more like it, just let me know. But pretty much, Interrogator is the ideal avatar for aggro builds, in my opinion at least, because its ability just encourages you to go in there and strike your opponent's avatar as much as possible. So Interrogator has an ability that reads, whenever an ally strikes an enemy avatar, draw a spell unless they pay 3 life. So you get card draw by striking your opponent's avatar, or else they can choose to essentially take a lot of damage by paying an extra 3 life to avoid you drawing a spell. So overall, the strategy is very simple. We want to get in our opponent's faces and strike their avatar as much as possible with this deck. So what we will do is we'll go through the Spellbook and the Atlas individually. I'll just go through all of the cards I've put into the deck and essentially just explain their role. So let's start with the Spellbook. Okay, so to begin, we have got Wild Fanatic. I believe there's 4 Wild Fanatics in here, a full play set, because Wild Fanatic is just a great card for aggro decks. It's a 2 mana, 2 power minion with charge. So as you'll see as we go through the build, this deck has quite a few different ways of allowing your minions to essentially be cast right onto your opponent's avatar. And with Wild Fanatic, if you can cast Wild Fanatic onto your avatar, or sorry, onto your opponent's avatar, it can essentially start striking them straight away with charge. So that's pretty much the main reason why this card is in the deck. Next up, we have got 2 Stormgeist. This is one of the most powerful minions in this deck by far. Stormgeist is a 3 mana, 2 air threshold minion with 3 power. It has airborne, but most importantly, it has a really powerful ability, which reads, whenever an enemy casts magic, Stormgeist steps closer, then strikes it if adjacent. So this includes your opponent's avatar casting magic. So essentially, if your opponent's avatar is casting spells, Stormgeist gets free movement to move closer to your opponent's avatar, which is great for an aggro deck. And then when it becomes adjacent, it gets a free strike onto the avatar, which will allow you to potentially draw a spell, or they can pay an extra 3 life and take 6 damage from that. So Stormgeist is just really, really powerful in this deck. And also, Sphere of Animosity is completely broken in this deck. This is by far one of the best cards in the deck. Sphere of Animosity is a 3 mana, 2 air threshold aura, which says that avatars here can't leave, heal, or be defended. So if you can cast this onto your opponent's avatar, it essentially means that you can keep striking the avatar with those cheap minions, such as Wild Fanatic, and they can't do anything about it. You get free strikes and heaps of card draw going into your hand, which it will essentially just win you the game. Next up, we have Pith Imp. I think there's 3 of these in here. This is just a solid, ordinary creature, in my opinion. It doesn't really synergize insanely well with the strategy, but I still think it's worth running. It's a 2 mana, 1 air threshold creature with 1 power. It has airborne, but the main reason it's in the deck is for its Genesis ability, which essentially helps to starve your opponents of their own cards. So Pith Imp steals a random spell from your opponent's hand until it leaves the realm. So the idea with this is simply just to put Pith Imps into your backline and steal your opponent's card and just deprive them of their their card stock for the game, essentially. I think down the line, when more cards are added to the pool, Pith Imp might be replaced with something else if we get better aggro options, but for now, I'm quite happy with Pith Imp in the deck. And next we have Noxious Corpse, which we run 4 of them. It's just a straightforward 2 mana, 1 fire threshold creature with 2 power and lethal. The reason I like this card is purely for that lethal ability. It makes the cost of blocking a strike on your opponent's avatar a lot more higher in the mid to late game. So let's say you've got your avatar in a square on the realm with a 4 power creature that could potentially defend a strike. If you have Noxious Corpse there and decide to attack your opponent's avatar, they essentially have to give up a much more powerful creature to prevent that. So that's why I run Noxious Corpse in the deck. And then we have one of my favorites, Lesser Blood Demon. This card is so good in the deck. It's just so good. It's a 2 mana creature with 3 power and a Genesis ability that results in you losing 2 life when it enters the battlefield. This is just a great creature for aggro decks because it comes in ahead of curve. You can put Lesser Blood Demon into the realm on turn 2, and if you cast it onto your opponent's avatar, there's a 3 power creature there in the early game, and it's just unlikely that they're going to have anything that can deal with it. So with Lesser Blood Demon, it's very easy to get early strikes onto your opponent's avatar, which is the main reason it's in the deck. And another one of my favorites is Hot Wheel. This one's such a fun card. It's a 4 mana, 1 fire threshold minion with 2 power. It has a Genesis ability that allows it to roll forward 2 steps and then strikes another unit at each location it enters. So this one, essentially, if you play it at the right time, gets a free strike onto your opponent's avatar when it enters the battlefield, which is the main reason it's in the deck. Next up, we have Greater Blood Demon, which is basically just a beefier version of Lesser Blood Demon. It is a 4 mana creature that enters with 6 power, with the caveat that you lose 4 life when it enters the battlefield. So definitely worth the 4 life. It can just overwhelm your opponent so easily. I honestly think Greater Blood Demon might be the best minion in this deck. I've just single-handedly won so many games with Blood Demon coming out onto the realm. And then we've got Gift of the Serpent. This is pretty much just here to allow cards to act like Noxious Corpse by giving them lethal. So for the same reason as I described for Noxious Corpse, giving your minions lethal with this card is also fantastic. And then it's also just here for card draw because you can draw a spell for 2 mana, which is quite nice. Next up, we have Eclipse, one of the best cards in the deck by far. This is one of the cards that allows you to cast your minions directly onto your opponent's avatar, so it allows you to cast evil minions to affected sites, and with this deck there are a lot of evil minions, so that is quite good. And then evil allies occupying affected sites have +1 power as well, so this is just a fantastic card for this deck. It allows you to cast those cheaper creatures onto your opponent's avatar and they come in more powerful. It's just insanely broken, Eclipse. Charumfloss, also another broken card. This one is just here because Charumfloss is just a great card. It doesn't necessarily synergize with the aggro build so much, but the reason we have it in the deck is because you get to draw an extra spell every turn, which is just really good. Blaze of Glory, another broken card in this deck. It's a 3 mana, 2 fire threshold magic, which allows an ally to fight each enemy near it one at a time. It doesn't die until it's done. So with this card, let's say you have Greater Blood Demon on a square with your opponent's avatar, and they've got a bunch of creatures on there as well. You can cast Blaze of Glory onto Greater Blood Demon. It deals 6 damage to every creature in the square, so essentially wipes the square, and then also gets a strike onto your opponent's avatar as well, which plays into that ability to draw extra cards. So Blaze of Glory is again one of the best cards in this deck. And oh my god, we're just going banger after banger right now. We've got Balor of the Evil Eye, which is in the deck for the late game. It's a 6 mana, 2 fire threshold minion with 6 power, and it has one of the best abilities in the game. So once on your turn, Balor may deal 2 damage to 1 unit at each other location in a cardinal direction. It's just a big stompy boy to bring out in the late game to finish off your opponent. Tooth Fairies, I think there's 3. Yep, 3 Tooth Fairies in the deck. So it's a 2 mana, 1 air threshold minion with 2 power. It has Airborne, and at the start of your turn, you can tap a nearby enemy. So the reason Tooth Fairies is so good in this deck is because you can tap your opponent's defenders to allow you to get strikes on their avatar, essentially. Quite straightforward, but nonetheless really good. Sir Lamarok, solid card. The reason Sir Lamarok is here is because of that Death Ride ability, which allows him to strike the avatar if he dies. So another free strike, which is really solid. Morgana Le Fay, just one of the best fire cards in the game. If you guys don't know about this card, you should learn about it. It's really good just for card draw, essentially. It doesn't play too much into the aggro side of things. It's more so just for card advantage, which is why Morgana makes it into the deck. And then we have Vile Imp. We've got 4 of these, a full play set. Vile Imp's just another one of those cheap creatures you can bring out in the early game. It has a good Genesis ability, which can allow you to remove other cheaper creatures, which is nice. Just a solid ordinary minion in the deck. Panorama Manticore, one of the bigger boys. 5 mana for 5 power is solid. I see this deck is getting really wobbly. This is my first time using, what's this game called? Tabletop Simulator. So I'm kind of learning how it works, but the physics, look at that. Look at how wobbly these cards are. It's like a jelly, but nonetheless, we'll just roll with it. Panorama Manticore is a 5 mana, 5 power creature with Airborne and Lethal, and then it has the ability to be untapped as well at the end of the turn, which isn't too bad. Is there a way to pick up all of these cards? Ooh. Oh, that's really nice. That's what I should do. All right, let's move these off to the side. It's so wobbly. It just looks really weird. Anyways, Summoning Sphere is basically a weaker version of Eclipse, but still very good. You can summon minions to affected sites. The wobble is now really annoying me. I'm just gonna... Let's just move these away so they're not on the screen anymore. There we go. This is basically like Eclipse, where you can summon your minions onto your opponent's avatar. Obviously not quite as good because they don't get a power boost, but still very good. And it's only 1 mana, so if you get this in your opening hand, you can start moving those creatures such as Wild Fanatic or Vile Imp onto your opponent's avatar in turn 2, which is really, really nice. Whirling Blades is another card that allows your creature to get good movement and free strikes onto the avatar. So with Whirling Blades, an ally may take up to 2 steps and then strikes each enemy along their entire path. So if you're 2 steps away from the avatar, cast Whirling Blades, you move up onto the avatar and get a free strike onto it, which is really nice. Grapple Shot is pretty much in here for the same purpose as Whirling Blades. It allows a unit to move across the board, and if there's a clear path onto your opponent's avatar, it can grapple shot the avatar and strike them for free, which is really nice. Oh, there's another one. Cool. And then we've got Blink, which is here for card draw and movement. Just very solid card draw and movement with Blink. Nothing really too much more to say about that. And Grim Reaper is a 2 mana, 2 air threshold minion with 1 power. It has lethal. It's just a good removal minion, essentially. I just like it because, yeah, if you've got an opponent with multiple copies of a creature on the field, with Grim Reaper, you can remove all of them, plus any others they may have in their cemetery or their spellbook. So, quite a solid card there as well with Grim Reaper. And finally, we have Grand Master Wizard, which is just here for the card draw, essentially. So that is the full spellbook. I hope you guys can kind of understand the ideas there. It's essentially just trying to overwhelm your opponents as much as possible through casting all of these crazy broken minions. So Let's move those off to the side and we'll quickly run through the Atlas, which is probably a bit less interesting, but whatever. We've got Wuthering Heights. Let's put them here. So Wuthering Heights is one of the best air sites in the game. It just allows you free movement if you have a minion on top of Wuthering Heights, so it's quite good for those aggro builds to get your creatures across the realm onto your opponent's avatar. Spore Sprouts is one of the best sites in this deck. It acts the same way as Summoning Sphere for 1 turn. So Spore Sprouts, I keep calling them Sprouts, but it's actually Spouts. Spore Spouts is a air threshold site with a Genesis ability that says you can cast minions with 2 or less power to any site this turn. So that allows you to essentially do the same thing as Summoning Sphere, just move your creatures onto your opponent's avatar to start dealing out some strikes. Road to Perdition, I think there's only one of these in the deck. Yep. It's probably one of the ones that doesn't need to be in here, although it's still kind of good, but it has a Genesis ability that gives target nearby evils +1 power, which is the main reason it's in the deck. There's a lot of evil creatures in here, so many times you could take advantage of this to get more power. Then we have got Mountain Peaks, which just gives you good air thresholds. That's why that's in the deck. Darkest Dungeon, one of the funnest sites in the deck. It's a unique site with a Genesis ability that says next time an ally strikes an avatar this turn, drag both here if possible. So if you put Darkest Dungeon in your backline and then strike your opponent's avatar, you can drag it all the way over there and then your opponent's basically screwed. There's no way for them to defend their avatar if that triggers. So Darkest Dungeon is really nice. Active Volcano is here for the fire threshold. Sinkhole is, there's only one sinkhole, apologies. Thought there was 2. There probably should be 2 in here now that I'm thinking about it, but Sinkhole is basically just here to remove troubling sites your opponents may have. I notice the pile here is becoming jelly, so let's move that off to the side. It's still wobbling, look at this. The pile is still wobbling. The physics in this game are crazy. Anyways, Ruins is, again, another good threshold site. It's one of the dual threshold sites just to give you solid air and fire threshold. Vesuvius is another removal site. It gives you fire threshold, and then if you sacrifice it, it can do 3 damage to your opponent's minions. So it's essentially just a defensive site. If your opponent starts putting minions around Interrogator, Vesuvius can help remove them. Got a few deserts in here. I think there's 3. Oh, there's more. So many deserts. The deserts probably don't need to be in this deck, but I didn't really have anything else to put in, so deserts are just here. They can deal 1 damage to minions atop nearby sites, which is a solid Genesis ability, but it doesn't play too much into the aggro side of things, so I don't know how necessary this is. I think maybe down the line I'll replace these with something better. Observatory is a great air site. Just allows you to look at your next 3 spells and put them back in any order. So if you're looking for specific cards, Observatory can help you find them, which is fantastic. And lastly, we have the towers. So there's just 1 of each in the deck, and they just help give you some early game mana to assist with overwhelming your opponent in the early game. Anyways, that is it for my Interrogator build. So let me know what you think of the deck in the comment section down below. As I mentioned at the start, I'm still a bit of a noob to Sorcery, so it's by no means perfect, but I think it plays pretty good. Anyways, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more Sorcery videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.